Greetings from Jerusalem, Jane. Second video update for today. Things are happening very quickly. Please go watch the first video update I did. But since then, the ballistic missile attack that took place in Beersheba today, the death toll has now climbed from 4 to 5. Early this morning, we all got the presidential alert that the whole nation should seek shelter. And about 20 ballistic missiles was fired in several barrages into Israel. I had 4 of them flying over my complex here in Jerusalem. Unfortunately, there was a direct hit at a building in Beersheba and 5 people were killed. And it now comes out that most of them were actually in their bomb shelter. And these bomb shelters are supposed to sustain or protect you, but it comes out now that several of them was in a bomb shelter when they were murdered by this ballistic missile from Iran. Like I said in my previous video, I woke up at 4 o'clock to see that the American president announced that there has been reached an agreement between the Israelis and from Iran, and that a ceasefire was going to come into effect at 7 o'clock. Around 5 o'clock, the ballistic missiles started raining in, and we were all sitting in our bomb shelters up until we reached that 7 o'clock deadline. The Israelis, because it was during the night, stayed quiet. They were not out saying anything. They waited until we have passed the 7 o'clock limits, and then the message came out from the Israeli government that they confirmed that this ceasefire had been agreed. Israel had goals that needed to be achieved before they could call this war over. So I just want to read that the government said Israel has removed a dual imminent existential threat from itself, both in the nuclear field and in the ballistic missile field. In addition, the IDF achieved full air control over the skies of Tehran, inflicted severe damage on the military leadership, and destroyed dozens of central Iranian government targets. In the past 24 hours, the IDF has also severely struck government targets in the heart of Tehran, eliminating hundreds of Baji operatives, terrorists. The terrorist regime's repression mechanism, and eliminating another senior nuclear scientist. Israel thanks President Trump and the United States for their support in defense and their participation in eliminating the Iranian nuclear threat. In light of achieving the objectives of the operation and in full coordination with President Trump, Israel has agreed to the President's proposal of a bilateral ceasefire. Israel will respond forcefully to any violation of the ceasefire. And then they say our heart goes out to the families who lost their loved ones, and we send our best wishes for a full recovery to the wounded. In this operation, the State of Israel achieved great historical achievements and placed itself on a par with the world leaders. This is a tremendous success for the people of Israel and its fighters, who eliminated both existential threats to our country and ensure the eternity of Israel. Amen, 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 amen. I can just say a big amen. The Prime Minister is going to issue a statement later today. So the ceasefire had come in. The President announced it early while we were still sleeping here in Israel. The Israeli government has confirmed it, and they have said we reached all of the objectives in this war. We have eliminated the nuclear threat from Iran, who has been hanging over the heads of people living here in Israel for I don't know how many years. Prime Minister Netanyahu is going to go down in history as one of the greatest leaders of the world. His courage and his boldness in all of this, chosen for such a time as this, has just been remarkable. I also want to say thank you to the Trump administration, just like the Israeli government is doing, saying thank you for being on the right side of history. Thank you for recognizing good and evil, between good and evil, between light and darkness, between God and Satan, this evil that has been trying to eliminate the Jewish people for so long, this genocidal threat from Iran, and there are proxies that Israel did what Israel has to do. Thank you to the Trump administration for sending the weapons that Israel had already paid for, that was withheld from the failing Biden administration, and for supplying all the weapons that Israel bought and needed. Thank you, Trump, for your clarity, for understanding that when you touch Israel, you're touching the apple of God's eye. If there's anything we have seen since October 7, is really who understands good and evil, light and darkness in this world. And that when you stand for Israel, you're standing for God. God and Israel are one, and that is indisputable. So ceasefire has come into effect. As of now, the guidelines are still that we can't go to work, schools are closed, gatherings are prohibited. They're probably just going to wait and see how these next 24 hours are going to play out. The only things that are open are essentials, pharmacies, supermarkets, and all of that. I did see now that it looks like the Israeli airport is actually going to go back to business already later today. So as always, I'll do my best to keep you updated. But just before the ceasefire came into effect for precious Israelis, most of them in their bomb shelters were brutally murdered by Iran, sending off this last massive barrage of rockets just before the ceasefire came into effect. And they, that this death wish that they have had to annihilate the Jewish people, well, they just murdered 4 this morning. So now funerals are going to take place in the Holy Land. I want to end again by saying this was David against Goliath. David against Goliath. Do you have any idea how tiny Israel is? Do you have any idea how tiny Israel is? Israel has been at war now for nearly 2 years. I showed you yesterday that 28,000 rockets and missiles has been fired at Israel. From Hezbollah alone, 17,200 rockets has been fired from Hezbollah. 10,000 rockets were fired from Hamas since October 7. They come from the Houthis. It came from Syria. It came from Iraq. And all of these ballistic missiles that came from Iran. This tiny little nation that never started a war, but that has all of these existential threats coming against them simply for being the chosen land that God put his name down on. So as there is a ceasefire now with Iran, that doesn't mean that the vile Houthis in Yemen are not going to start firing ballistic missiles at Israel, because Israel is still operating against Hamas and Gaza. That is not over yet. Israel has war goals that needs to be fulfilled in Gaza also. But for now, it has been one of the, if not the biggest military accomplished by this tiny little nation, what Israel just accomplished inside Iran. So I hope all of our fighter pilots can get a long vacation, to go away, to get a massage, to get some physiotherapy into your bodies, to be pampered and treated and sleep. My God, you haven't slept for 2 weeks. I have heard you above Jerusalem, back and forth, all the ground personnel, everybody who took part in all of this. You are our brave lions in the sky. You really are our heroes. And again, thumbs up to the American military for your daring and secret Top Gun operation in Iran. What you carried out was just extraordinary. Thank you, America, Trump administration, for standing with the Holy Land for such a time as this, when we have seen other governments turning their backs and withholding weapons that Israel has ordered. So we clearly see who understand what times we are living in, who understand that God's words are true, that the history of the Bible is the land of Israel, where God gave in a covenant to Abraham, Isaac, and Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and their descendants. So thumbs up to the Israeli military. You have my highest respect. What you have accomplished is extraordinary. The Mossad, the secret agents operating in Iran and all the other nations, it's remarkable what you have done. It's just incredible. So as of now, ceasefire with Iran. Israel is saying we will respond forcefully if that ceasefire is being broken. So we will see when we get back to normal, when the airport is going to start opening, and when airlines are going to start flying in, hopefully soon. We can't wait to see you here in the Holy Land. I need to rest, I need to sleep, I need to recover, I need a masseuse. My goodness gracious, if you think that this hasn't affected us, I mean, you have no idea what we have been through here in the Holy Lands since October 7. It's just, it's been tough, but Am Yisrael Chai, the nation of Israel live. I'm honored and privileged and blessed to be here for such a time as this, to just be a small voice sharing the news, truth, and views out of Israel. Thank you for following me on all my social media platforms. Thank you for your likes, your comments, and your shares. There are so many messages on my different platforms in my inbox. I haven't had time to read any of it, and honestly, I think I just need to sleep right now and just recover a little bit from all of this. But I feel your love, feel your encouragement, I feel your prayers, I feel your support for me still living alone, working alone for so many years here in the Holy Lands. So united, we stand with Israel for such a time as this. Bye.